What is this?
If you're the Democrats, what are you going to do for the next 2 years? How do you regroup?
Therapy. We're all going to therapy.
Ugh.
I don't know why.
Like, that's how you know, dude. That's the difference between fucking liberals who are incredibly wealthy and incredibly out of touch versus people who do care about what's going on. My immediate reaction to this massive defeat was, one, obviously the Democratic Party needs to fucking fix everything and they suck. But more importantly than that was to immediately start trying to figure out ways to organize and defend one another. Like, oh, we'll just go to therapy. Okay, you can't therapy your way out of your immediate family members being deported from this country. You can't therapy your way if the Trump administration is now saying they're going to start targeting people who pro-Palestinian voices with the Esther Project. You can't therapy your way out of the regulatory agencies getting further crippled and the fucking water supply that we already have, the natural water supply we already have that is already poisoned, getting extra poisoned. There is no therapy that will protect people. Therapy is only good in this circumstance if it just like upsets you, if the Trump administration and his victories just like hurt your feelings. It's so different than just saying like, oh, I'm just going to go to therapy. I don't like that.
Why are we here? There's nothing. If you're a Democrat, all we can say is we hope that Susie decides that she's going to take a long vacation, that they hire some terrible people and make some mistakes to give us a chance, right?
Jokes like that stigmatize therapy. I mean, I'm not even talking about that right now. Like, therapy is good overall, but it's like, if your answer to this question is like, what are we going to do? If your answer to this question is like, oh, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to do a lot of therapy, you're a profoundly unserious person who does not recognize the legitimate damage, the material harm that a second Trump administration is going to cause now that he is like more overtly malicious as well. He's more vindictive. He has more sycophants around him and he is ready to let it fucking rip. I think personally, if your answer to all of that is just therapy and not like, we have to organize, we have to make sure that we have more solid institutions that are outside of the scope of the immediate political party system. We need to ensure that there is some semblance of legal defense that we can mount towards all of the battles that we are going to have to take on to protect migrants, to protect trans people, to protect women, to protect women's right to have bodily autonomy, to women's right to get an abortion. This all requires tremendous amount of political action. And it's very frustrating that like your only response to this is like, oh, I feel bad. Like, is that the worst thing? Is that the worst aspect of Trump taking over the reins of this country? If you're a rich media personality, yeah, it just like kind of makes you sad because the vision of a future that you wanted to design was destroyed once again. You agree with the Democratic Party, you defend the Democratic Party, and that third way neoliberalism has been a disastrous failure. The people looked at that vision and said, fuck that. I don't want that shit at all. I'm ready to blow this up. So now your feelings are hurt. You're not thinking about the actual tangible material consequences of a second Trump administration.